I'd like to call this meeting of your Newark City Council to order.
Whoa.
Let me try that again. I'd like to call this meeting of your Newark City Council to order. Bonner, please call the roll.
Ms. Hall? Here. Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Marmee?
Present.
Mr. Rath?
Here.
Mr. Valletta?
Here.
Mr. Blake?
Here.
Mr. Bubb?
Here.
Mr. Cost?
Here.
Mrs. Floyd? Here. And Mr. Frazier?
Present.
We have all here present this evening. Next on the agenda is the invocation by Mrs. Floyd. If you please stand.
Would you bow your heads, please? Almighty God, we have so many blessings and freedoms in this community and so much to be thankful for. We thank you for the young people that are here to be honored tonight. They have brought a lot to this community. We have many other things to be thankful for, so many good things that are happening in Newark at this point. And yet for the country as a whole, there have been some very difficult times, and individual people have very difficult times. We ask that you be with us through these difficult times and help us to work together to solve the problems of our community. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Mr. Crawford, will you start the pledge for us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd. Mr. Crawford. Next on the agenda we have caucus. That's the time for council to discuss anything and may want to discuss about the agenda this evening. Do we have anything? Seeing none, next we need approval of our council minutes from June 6, 2016. Do we have a motion? Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Rath. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. Thank you. Next, under appointments, City Council to appoint John Ubel and Steve Gleason to the Newark City Board of Tax Review. I believe we all got an email from Barb Jobs about that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes 10-0. Next on the agenda, we have 5 reports this evening from standing committees, one from finance, one from safety, one from service, one from economic development, and one from personnel. Without objection, those will be received and filed. Also under reports from city officials, we have one from our auditor, Stephen Johnson, operating report for the period ending May 31st, 2016, and one from Barb Jobs, our income tax administrator, also an operating report for the period ending May 31st, 2016. Without objection, those will be received and filed. Next on the agenda this evening is communications. First up on the communication this evening, we have Mayor Hall. If you'd go ahead and
Sure.
He's going to do a proclamation
Guys,
for...
come on up here. We got some state champions in the room here.
It doesn't get much better than this.
Some of you
Newark
know this routine, so come on around and just pop around here.
Newark
Councilman Marmee,
Cavaliers.
you can set up here, whatever you provide, come down here. Come on around this way, guys.
Who's that?
Ah, we brought the trophy. Nice stuff. Beautiful. We're in the presence of some great state champions here, and as a result of that, I'm going to read a proclamation. It's kind of becoming like Groundhog Day around here a little bit, but all good stuff. Whereas the Newark Catholic Division IV baseball team won the state championship title after its 5-4 victory over North Lewisburg Triad at Huntington Park in Columbus, Ohio on Saturday, June 4th, 2016. The City of Newark would like to recognize the championship players for their awesome overall record season of 24-10, their outstanding and impressive 8-game playoff performance, where they outscored their opponents 97-8, and finally for bringing home the 9th baseball state championship title in the Newark Catholic history books, its 3rd in 4 years. The team dedicated this year's season and tournament to the memory of Tracy Joyce, who was taken too soon by amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. The 2016 Newark Catholic State Championship game was won by the following team players. And I'm going to change it up just a little bit. When I mention your name, just throw your hand up a minute so we know who you are. Seniors, Nick Cavany, John Erard, Max Hogue, Austin Kent, Judd Lewis, Mitch Lohr, Tanner Marmee, Heath McCarthy, Zach Walker, Kane Whitney, Billy Wallenberg, Jack Wallenberg, and then we've got juniors Caleb Claggett, Noah Fodder, Tanner Lake, Jody Mummy, Drake Nance, Hunter Passwaters, and Drew Young. Sophomores, we have Cameron Lewis, Tyler York, and then freshman Ben Bemis. Beautiful, thanks guys. And the coaches can do the same here, I think we know quite a few. The 2016 Newark Catholic State Championship win was led by baseball coaching staff head coach John Canizero, assistant coaches Danny Mummy, Ed Clark, Doug Marmey, Jacob Nelson, Rick Canizero, Tom Haycock, and assistant bat boys Ashton Cox and Shay Mummy, and team nurse Marie O'Neill. The City of Newark would like to congratulate the 2016 Newark Catholic baseball team, as well as the other participating teams in the division, for making this another great season of baseball and great memories. Now, therefore, I, Jeff Hall, Mayor of the City of Newark, do hereby proclaim June 20th, 2016, as Newark Catholic State Baseball Championships Day in Newark, Ohio, and encourage all citizens to support and recognize the accomplishment of this team's players, parents, and coaches. Thank you, everyone. I think I'd like to ask Mr. Marmey to take over from here. If he'd like to make a few comments, and surely we'll let Coach Canizero speak if he'd like to.
Sure. I'm going to start out by saying to all of council and all my colleagues that this is a fine group of young men that I had the privilege of helping and participating in, and they did all the work. It kind of shows what type of men they are. They dedicated the season once Tracy Joyce, one of the members of our Green Wave Nation, tragically passed away after a long and tough battle with ALS. It's very symbolic of the way this team played. They never gave up. They battled through everything. Bases loaded, no outs. In the regional finals, bases loaded. Whatever the situation, they fought for it, and they gave it their all. We weren't perfect in any stretch of the imagination, but yet they just consistently just put forth that effort. The seniors, I think that it's great that you're leaving with the victory that you did, the season that you had. It's incredible, not only the state championship, but to win the Cardinal Division of the LCL, and also have the best record in both divisions of the LCL in a year in which the LCL was very, very competitive. It's just truly a miracle, as we've kind of coined it, that all those pieces fell together. To those of you that are not seniors, I see a lot of promise in our future as a program, as a team next year, and I mean, with hard work, just like this year, starting out with the conditioning, holding the weights up, right guys? It all starts with those little things, and our future is bright, and hopefully you'll be right back here next year doing the same thing as far as the presentation. It's always a goal. It's always something to aspire towards, and I'm just very, very proud to be a part of what you guys work so hard for and the commitment that you put forth, and I really do appreciate. And I want all of you to please help me to show appreciation for these young men now. They are very good men.
Very nice. Coach, any words? I know you...
This is what I'm going to refer to in the future as the fun bunch. I allowed them to do some things that some of the past teams didn't get to do. But you've helped us distribute rings the last couple of years.
Quite honored to, yeah.
We've got new ones ordered.
Good.
During the ceremony last September, I believe it was, out at Whitefield, you was running for mayor.
Yeah.
And you and I discussed who had the best odds, you becoming mayor again, or us winning the state championship, and both of us just said, let's just make sure both of us make it. So, here we are.
Here we are.
When the ceremony gets scheduled, I'll give you a call.
Great.
And, yeah, I'm really, I get picked on for how much I talk. I don't think I talked that much this year, because I let the coaches ramble.
You're getting looks here, but
But it was a fun bunch. The dugouts were electric, especially in the regional and state. So there's 22 of them, and it took that many. We didn't. Mr. Schnocky from the Clippers was in our dugout, and they was concerned about their field holding up with the rain that was coming down. And what was amazing, we made the final out and it quit raining. Because I know by the time I got to the dog pile, so to speak, it had stopped raining. But I'm real happy. The seniors, we're going to hear a lot of good things about all these seniors, and we'll see what we can do with those that are coming back, and probably some new faces. We really appreciate council and you having us in here, and hopefully we can make it back.
Good. And I'd say we appreciate you guys bringing great sports local, because there's nothing better than that. I was unable to attend the game, but I surely was able to listen to it on the radio, and wow, what a game, what a phenomenal game you brought, and all good stuff. And I'm sure that we were worried at parts, but at the end you end up on top, and that's the name of it. So a lot of hard work comes through some good stuff. We love sports in this community, as you know, and thank you for good sports. So guys, congratulations. Best of luck to all the seniors and juniors and sophomores and freshmen. We hope to see you back. So good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate it. That's good. There you get me going. All right. There we go. Good stuff, guys. All right. Appreciate it. Good stuff. Thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Take care, guys. All right.
Congratulations, guys. I'll tell you, Newark Catholic, Cleveland Cavaliers, doesn't get any better than that. And that
Probably aren't having the Cavaliers tonight. Just
and that Tanner Marvin kid is much better looking than his dad. Let me just tell you.
I concur.
Next on the agenda, we have comments from citizens. There are two sections for comments from citizens. One is now, and one is while the mayor is taking his proclamation outside. Is there anyone for this first section? Oh, please.
I don't know if I'm a citizen or not, but I guess I'm here. So, Roger Loomis, Utilities Superintendent. Just wanted to remind everybody here, because we're finished up segment 3 of the downtown project, and segment 4 is starting up next Monday, a week from today. So the road out front's going to be closed for a period of about 6 months. If you've seen the sign out there, we've got that posted. We've talked with all the businesses in this area. We've made some arrangements for the clerk of courts and the judges to get in and out and things like that. But it's going to be another fun segment, but it's going to affect us here with City Hall. So City Hall should be accessible from this side over here. Of course, the front's going to be all fenced off, but if anybody needs to get here, you can tell them they can come in through the side, and they'll still be able to get into the front door. So just want to remind everybody. So thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Anyone else for this first section? Okay. We'll go on to ordinances on the second reading, 16-16.
Ordinance 16-16 by Mr. Frazier, Mr. Rath, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Marmee, Mr. Cost, an ordinance amending Chapter 618 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Newark.
You've heard the second reading of 16-16. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Frazier.
I wish to make a motion to adopt 1616.
Motion by Mr. Frazier. Second. Second by Mr. Rath. Do we have any discussion on 16-16? Seeing none, I'll please call the roll and vote.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
And Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
16-16 passes 10-0. Next, ordinances on the first reading, 16-17.
Ordinance 16-17 by Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, Mr. Rapp, and Mr. Johnson, an ordinance amending the position classification, pay range, and department authorization tables of the Department of Safety, Division of Fire by creating the classification of Deputy Fire Chief and setting the compensation therefore and abolishing one Assistant Chief position by attrition.
16-17 will be held for a second reading in 2 weeks. Next we have 16-18.
Ordinance 16-18 by Mr. Cost, Mr. Rapp, Mrs. Floyd, an ordinance amending chapters 254, 628, and 636 of the codified ordinances of the City of Newark, Ohio, prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation.
16-18 will be held for 2 weeks. Next we have 16-19 through 16-24. Will all be referred to the Planning Commission, but we will start with 16-19.
Ordinance 16-19 by Mr. Rapp, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 1621 North 21st Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of GO General Office Zoning District to GC General Commercial Zoning District.
16-19 will be referred to the Planning Commission. Next we have 16-20.
Ordinance 16-20 by Mr. Rapp, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 158 Myrtle Avenue, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of RM, Single Family Residence Medium Density Zoning District to GC General Commercial Zoning District.
16-20 will be referred to the Planning Commission. Next we have 16-21.
Ordinance 16-21 by Mr. Rapp, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 807 North 21st Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of RM, Single Family Residence Medium Density Zoning District to GO General Office Zoning District.
That will also be referred to the Planning Commission. Next we have 16-22.
Ordinance 16-22 by Mr. Rapp, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 813 North 21st Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of RM, Single Family Residence Medium Density Zoning District to GO General Office Zoning District.
16-22 will be referred to the Planning Commission. Next we have 16-23.
Ordinance 16-23 by Mr. Rapp, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, Mrs. Floyd, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 819 North 21st Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of RM, Single Family Residence Medium Density District to GO General Office Zoning District.
16-23 will be referred to the Planning Commission. And finally we have 16-24.
Ordinance 16-24 by Mr. Rapp, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmee, Mrs. Floyd, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 825 North 21st Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of LO Limited Office Zoning District to GO General Office Zoning District.
That will also be referred to the Planning Commission. They'll have a busy evening there. Those will be heard by the Planning Commission, and then their results will come back to council for a second reading, and we'll go from there on this. Next we have 16-25.
Ordinance 16-25 by Mr. Frazier, Mr. Cost, Mr. Rapp, Mrs. Floyd, an ordinance amending Chapter 454 and Chapter 407 of the codified ordinances of the City of Newark, Ohio, regarding the regulation of parking vehicles in the downtown area.
16-25 will be held for a second reading in 2 weeks. Next we have resolutions on the second reading. 16-51.
Resolution 16-51 by Mr. Marmee, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Cost, Mr. Rapp, and a resolution appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation.
You've heard the second reading of 16-51. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmee.
make a motion to adopt Resolution 16-51.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Marmee, second by Mr. Rapp. Is there any discussion on 16-51? Seeing none, I'll please call the roll to vote.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Buck?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
And Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
16-51 passes 10-0. Now we move on to resolutions on the first reading. 16-52.
Resolution 16-52 by Mr. Marmee, Mr. Cost, Mr. Rath, Mrs. Floyd, a resolution appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation.
16-5, Mr. Marmee.
Mr. President, make a motion to waive the 2-day reading rule on Resolution 16-52.
Motion to waive the 2-day reading rule by Mr. Marmee, second by Mrs. Floyd. Mr. Marmee.
Yes, this is in order to meet a deadline for this money that's being moved.
Please call the roll to vote for waiving the 2-day reading rule.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
And Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
2-day reading rule has been waived. Mr. Marmee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Make a motion to adopt Resolution 16-52.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Marmee, second by Mrs. Floyd. Do we have any discussion on 16-52? Seeing none, please call the roll to vote.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Bub?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
And Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
16-52 passes 10-0. And finally this evening, and the first reading is 16-53.
Resolution 16-53 by Mr. Marmee, Mr. Cost, Mr. Rath, a resolution appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation.
16-53 will be held for 2 weeks for a second reading. And that concludes our legislation this evening. Thank you for your attention. Next, our second section of comments from citizens. Do we have anyone?
Excuse the radio. Nick Simmons from the Division on Fire. I'm wearing 3 hats tonight, so I have to have this on in case we have to go somewhere else. We've had a busy evening with sending some units up to Utica to assist them. My comments for this evening, we brought up the newest apparatus for everyone to take a look at. It's a rescue vehicle that was just purchased about 3 months ago. And they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, this is worth about 1,010 because you can actually go out and look at it and touch it and see what it does and see. I can show you how it functions if you're interested, or just stand in front of it and get your picture taken or what have you. Whatever you like. We also am going to bring up the ATV, the all-terrain vehicle, which we got through donations. And its purpose is to go places none of our other vehicles can. We do have some 4-wheel drive vehicles, but they're not nearly as nimble as an ATV. It's kind of like as Mr. Koss said, a go-kart on steroids. It will go places and do things that no other vehicle can. So we'll bring that up for you too, if anybody cares to look at that as well. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else for this section? Anyone from the administration? Honorable Law Director Sassen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll pass.
Mayor Hall.
I will pass. Thank you.
Ms. Hall.
Thank you, I will pass.
Mr. Johnson, who is celebrating his 57th wedding anniversary this evening. I think that deserves a little bit of recognition. But he has to be home by 8:15 or we're in trouble. Mr. Marmee?
I need to call a finance committee meeting. I also am just going to comment, I don't even really follow the NBA basketball hardly at all, but I actually did get addicted when the Cavaliers this year. And it was just something that was very, very exciting to watch. Again, they were against all odds. No team had ever come back from a 3-1 deficit to ever win it. So it was one of those, it's impossible for them to win. Now, I wish that our Newark Catholic team had someone like LeBron to help us out. But he's just phenomenal. But so were all the players on both teams. I mean, Green last night stepped it up for the other team, and it's just unbelievable what these guys can do and how they can just perform. And it was a very exciting game and an exciting series. And I think the city of Cleveland really needed something like that. And now I don't know about the cleanup after last night, but they really did need that boost in the arm. It's been a long time coming for that city. So with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Marmee. Mr. Rath?
Thank you. I'll call the service committee meeting and pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rath. Mr. Lowe?
Thank you, all pass.
Mr. Blake?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to quickly say thank you to Assistant Chief Simmons for bringing those vehicles up to look at, kind of like a kid when we don't get many perks in this job, so that was kind of fun to get some pictures with that. So
You still don't get a ride. You know that, right?
I was going to get his keys and drive the thing. No, but thank you for letting us see that. I do want to announce that the Licking Park District, Bob Williams is the director of Licking Parks, and Riverview Park, which is in Little Texas, they're going to be doing an outdoor movie this Friday. It's the movie is B Movie, so some of you, it's an animated movie. So they're going to do an outdoor kind of theater down there at Riverview Park in Little Texas, and so I want to encourage people to visit that. That's at 8 o'clock this coming Friday, and with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Mr. Bub?
I'll pass, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bub. Mr. Cost? Doug, thanks for bringing the boys. That's neat. That's neat to see that happen. And Assistant Chief Simmons, thank you as well. It was great to see the vehicles here. With that, I'll pass. Thank you, Mr. Cost. Mrs. Floyd?
I just want to say again, congratulations, Newark Catholic and Coach Marmee. That's really neat for the community. I heard somebody last night when they were talking about the Cavs winning that, it's just sports, but look what it's done for the city of Cleveland. How important that is to almost the psyche of the whole community, and how much impact that can have on a community, and I think that's very true. Reminder, this Friday is a final Friday in downtown Newark car show. The cars are going to be in the parking lot on the other side of the jail and in the street out in front of Little Bear. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Just so you know, so final Friday, this Friday. I went to 2 great events on Thursday. Mr. Cost was there with me, and we got to see 4 new police officers sworn in. I will say they looked really young. I mean, one of them graduated in 2013 from high school, so they did look young. But it was just so neat to have 4 new police officers added to the city of Newark. And Thursday afternoon went to I don't know what you would call it, it's not the opening, but the showing of 31 West Church Street. The mayor was there. Each of the people who are going to have businesses in Tom Athas building on Church Street were there to sort of talk about their vision and what they intend to do. Now, there's still a lot of work to be done to the building. I have a friend who's going to move into one of the apartments there, and so I got to see, basically where this apartment is and how it was set up. But to have a Moe's Barbecue in downtown Newark, a yoga studio, a place where parents can bring their children to stay during the day. I'm missing 2. What are the other 2? Denison with their art and music, and and that'll be really neat. And the 5th one is
Kind of the stage of the venue.
Oh, the stage, the 31 West Church, which is the bringing in the music and the bands and everything that's going to be there. But there is so much excitement, so many people directly involved in the whole thing, and I think that's great for downtown Newark. It's not right on the square, but it sort of expands what downtown Newark is, and I think that's great for Newark. With that, I pass. Thank you.
Mrs. Floyd? I'm noticing that young thing is happening more and more also. Mr. Martin?
Yeah, can I announce one thing? Sure. Announce some things. Sure. I forgot. This Friday also, down at White Field, is the Licking County versus Muskingum County All-Star Football game. So a lot of local Newark High, Newark Catholic, and other Licking County players playing. Should be exciting.
Should be.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. And of course, the Farm Market Day, 3 Dog Night at the middle of the day.
Oh, I know. It's like, that's a good problem to have.
Mr. Frazier?
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know what the point of order is in that whole situation.
I have the
You're the president. You have the guy. So, I made a promise to Curtis Johnson that I would not have a long-winded speech tonight, and so I just want to say congratulations to Newark Catholic and the Cavs, and I look forward to the future of Newark, and congratulations to Curtis Johnson and his lovely wife, and all the best tonight. With that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Our next committee meeting will be Monday the 27th, 5:30 here in this room. Our next full council meeting will be actually 2 weeks in a day, July 5th. here at 7 o'clock. The motion adjourned?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Costa, second by Mr. Rath. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, Curtis, it's 7:30.